guys, what's up? 606 Garage. Happy New Year's Eve. So this is New Year's Eve. Got the headers on. Car sounds good. Exhaust is on. I got to tweak a few things. As always, run into some issues. But one thing that I did notice is where it's carbureted car, it's got that 5/16 fuel line that runs inside the fender well, out on the inside of the frame rail, right up against the header. So I am going to move that fuel line between the wheel, the wheel and the frame on the outside of the frame rail, and then go under and reach the fuel pump. I'm going to do that today. Got my fuel line and my flare fitting. I never recommend using compression fitting on anything other than, like an oil pressure gauge or something like that. You're kind of dealt with that. But anyway, I'm gonna get started on this. I'm gonna move this fuel line, and I've got to move the speedometer cables a little close too. It's like a 1/4 inch of touching the headers. It would probably be okay, especially no more than I'm gonna drive this car. But I do plan on making a few trips to Louisville. Once a 2-hour drive. That being said, you get the Louisville Nationals up there. Now that these cars are welcome to that the car show, I think anything 30 years old and older, you can just about, as of this year coming, you can about take any Fox body that was made, which is pretty cool. I'm going to get started on this. I hope everybody has a great New Year's Day. Please be safe New Year's Eve. Everybody wants to wake up and do this again this year. So, like I said, please be safe. Drink responsibly if you drink. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're in the garage, be aware of what you're doing. Nobody wants to... We all want to make it to the New Year's, and we all want to make it all the way through 2023, Lord willing. So let's get started. I'm going to move this fuel line. I'm going to take a few snapshots of showing you what I'm doing. Some of you know what I'm doing. Some of you have no clue because you never messed with an older car. I don't blame you. The fuel-injected cars are so much funner, so much easier. Maybe it's because they're easier. Or I'm just not used to these. But, I'm going to get this fuel line moved, get my speedometer cable tucked back away from the headers a little bit more, and I'm probably going to go ahead and make provisions for my subframe connectors. I did buy a rear differential gasket for my rear end. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping this other rear end that I have because it's got a 273 single track in it now. I am going to a 327 posi. Now, this will not stay. But, just for giggles and to see what it'll do, I mean, $50 for it. Honestly, the shock mounts, they bought a brand new set of GT shock mounts and put on this rear end. I mean, to buy those is almost $40. And I mean, this 7.5 posi with the 327 gear, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, that 7.5 will live behind a lot, It gets a pretty bad rap, but, if you're not out there neutral dropping it with slicks on it, I mean, it's going to last. I mean, there's plenty of 7.5s out there today that's still in cars. This car still had the 7.5 in it, single track, That being said, the car is going to get a 430 gear, 8.8, 31 spline axles, C-clip eliminators, and we have an Auburn Pro posi. I've never ran one. I'm open to all the criticism in the world. Never ran one. But as much as they cost, I hope it's decent, All right, guys, welcome back. So here's what I'm doing. The thumbnail I showed you was the fuel line up against the header. Well, in this car, it comes up through here, around, and through there. Into that rubber line, right up against the header. I'm going to cut this line. I originally was going to... Alright, well, I done cut right through it. So originally, I was going to just cut it right here and take it across and strap it and then run it under to the fuel pump. That was my initial plan. Then I got ready to fit up the subframe connector, and I noticed that the fuel line runs right across the bottom of the frame rail. Right there. So I need to move that because my subframe connector welds to that. So I'm actually gonna cut the line back here, move it this way and down the frame rail. And then keep it all close up and tight. And then I'm gonna weld my subframe connector on. So, but that's what we're doing today, and that's what I would recommend. Now, honestly, if I was to recommend anything, it would just go ahead and redo all the lines in 3/8 at least. And that's probably what I'm going to do, because I am not going to fuel inject this car. It will stay carbureted. And honestly, 5/16 will fuel this thing up to a point. And we're going to keep it there. Really isn't point much going a whole lot bigger, just due to the pickup on the gas tank. So that's what I'm working on today. I'll give you a follow-up of what it looks like when it's done. So stay tuned. All right, fellas, ladies, I got it run. It turned out fairly decent, I feel like. Now, I extended this hose all the way out here just to kind of protect this, because that subframe connector is going to run through there. But I put a splice there. As you can see, the nut, but I just couldn't get a double flare on that line, and it just wasn't worth removing that line. If I took that line off, 3/8 was going to go back on. This is just, like I said, temporary, but you know, long temporary. But other than that, I'm still happy with my exhaust. Don't look too tight at the wheel. So, well, I'm gonna throw some gas in this car and fire it up and see how it works. All right, fellas, ladies, I have got the fuel line done, started, primed, run. Sounds good. No leaks. Always verify if you got leaks, you know. I know it's a stupid thing to say. There's probably been plenty of people went down the road, didn't check their hose clamps, forgot to put hose clamps on it. It's probably happened to me. I'm sure it has. I still have tomorrow off. The road is kind of wet. I do need to take this thing and put some gas in it. You know, when I drained it to put the fuel line in there, it only took about 2 gallons out of it. We all know we're not going to go far on that. So, to finish off this weekend, I'm going to work on getting a plan on the subframe connectors. I don't think I need them yet, because I did some research on this car. 140 horsepower from the factory. That's 15 horsepower shy of 100 of an 87. I did watch a video. I said before I was wanting to do like the bootlegger flat tappet cam, but I did watch a video where they drilled these blocks and put a tray on it, you know, a little spider hold down thing for the lifters. I've got tons of roller lifters, hold downs, trays. I may just do that. I may go ahead and do that. I may just stick a HO cam in it, a HO set of heads, the E7 heads, I'm sorry. And I'm going to port. I have another factory 4-barrel intake. I'll probably just throw a set of heads, cam. I'm going to port that intake, because that intake is so choked down, it's unreal. It's just heavy. It's like a solid chunk of aluminum. So I'm going to open it up, take a little weight out of the intake, get it to where it can breathe, you know, give it a set of lungs, you know, beef up the cardio some. And I think that'll probably increase the horsepower on this car quite a bit. I think that's definitely where it's lacking. All right, guys, doing a tail end for this video here. Exhaust was on, sound good, was pretty happy with it. We did take it for a cruise with the Draggy, and she went a 1675. I was hoping for high 16s. It was achieved. Now it's time to move on to more things, hence the rear end. Guys, thank you. Like and subscribe. Please comment. Get this video out there so more and more people can see it. This isn't just for Capris or 5.0 Mustangs or Fox bodies. I mean, it kind of works for a little bit of everything. It's just everybody's, in the Fox body group, everybody is very familiar with Fox bodies. So they can relate to everything that's being done to one of these cars. But, it works with about anything. Camaros, Novas, I don't care. You name it. So 1675, not bad. It was like 85 miles an hour. Time to move on to the gears. Then once we get to the gears, we're going to do something different with the intake. So stay tuned. Thanks.